I want to share with you a very serious case of performance anxiety that I experienced that was actually solved by another person's performance anxiety. This happened very early in my career. It was one of my first public speaking engagements. I was invited to be a panelist at an event put on by the San Francisco chapter of the Public Relations Society of America. And at the time, I was editor of the San Francisco Business Times. So I was invited along with some other members of the media. And even though we were panelists, we were each asked to stand at the lectern and give a brief 5-minute presentation before the proceedings would be opened up to the audience and turned into a true Q&A panel discussion. As I was waiting for things to begin, I was feeling extreme anxiety. Again, this was early in my career, one of my first speaking engagements. I was very inexperienced. It was in a hotel ballroom filled with quite a few people, many of whom I knew. I managed to stick it out long enough for a young man who was with the local chapter PRSA to go up to the podium and start introducing each of the panelists. He proceeded to give this very stumbling and bumbling introduction of each of the panelists, including me. And I felt badly for the young man because he was visibly very nervous, just as I felt very nervous. But something interesting happened. Because he did so poorly at the podium, I suddenly found myself relaxing, realizing that I would do better at the podium than he had just done. So the performance anxiety that he was feeling that caused him to give this stumbling introduction to the panelist served to actually relax me, because the bar had been lowered by an awful lot by his lack of good performance. And as it turned out, I was the first one to the podium. He introduced me. I walked up to that podium, and even I was surprised by how relaxed I was and how much verve I brought to that microphone, to that presentation. By the time I was done, I felt like $1 million. I felt like I had just hit a home run. So there's a lesson in this, and that lesson is that performance anxiety, to some degree, is situational. I had a very high degree of performance anxiety when I was matched against my own expectations. But once the MC at the event spoke and did so poorly, I was able to adjust my own expectations and make them relative to the situation that I was in at that time. I knew that on a comparative basis, my performance was going to be much better than what the audience had just heard from him. And that relaxed me. And it elevated my performance because I was relaxed. Now, we can't count on somebody setting that situation up for us, but we can try to put our own performance expectations into a realistic context. And it helps us realize that most people are not tremendously polished speakers. And if we just get up there and do our own thing, be ourselves and be authentic, that we're going to do just fine. Thank you for watching.